Hi everybody, this is Brooke Bacon. I just wanted to let you know that our webcast will be starting shortly. We are just going to give you a brief overview of GSI while you wait. So who is GSI? GSI is a full-service consulting and managed services organization with deep application and industry knowledge. This deep knowledge allows us to develop advanced AI and automation that delivers cutting-edge intelligence. This unmatched intelligence is what enables our clients to thrive and not just survive. So why partner with GSI? GSI is a full-service ERP, SaaS, cloud, ITSM, cybersecurity reseller, consulting, and managed services organization. We have industry, application, and technical certifications, and we not only understand the business system you are utilizing, but most importantly, the industry. Advanced AI and automation are used in all of our products and services to help our clients reduce TCO and increase ROI. We have offices nationwide and partners worldwide, which allows us to offer a 24/7 global support model. And we are the only partner you will find in the industry that has a 100% guarantee on everything we do. Here are a few of the awards and accreditations and certifications we have received. Our mission is to make every customer a client. To accomplish this mission, we create a culture that attracts and retains the most creative, energetic, and experienced professionals. Here are some of the products that we have developed to help our clients thrive. Genius AI is a platform designed to support the development and execution of customized modules for system monitoring, application monitoring, AI, and automation. Modules can be developed and executed for almost any business system. Our clients use Genesis Performance Optimizer to model, measure, and maximize system performance for all of their web-based business systems. Genome is our newest product that will detect, analyze, and automate the process of converting customizations into orchestrations. Rapid Reconciler is our tool that reconciles perpetual, in-transit, and received not vouchered inventory. Rapid Approval is an application for quickly processing workflow approval requests in Salesforce. And G Shield is a line of security products that we are continuing to expand. Currently, we have two products, JDE Password Reset and JDE Two-Factor Authentication. As you can see from these testimonials, our clients attest to the fact that we focus on the business value of their systems, not just the performance. This business value focus allows our clients to transform antiquated systems of record into market share expansion machines.
Hello, my name is Larry Stocks. I work for GSI. I wanted to welcome everybody to this session where we'll be speaking about how to leverage Assertion Framework for testing and validating orchestrations. So again, my name is Larry Stocks. I'm manager of E1 Development and Orchestrations. I have been working with GSI for about 10 years and have been in JDE development since 1997. All right, so I have a handful of slides that I want to get into before I get into the two demos that I have set up. This is for the folks that have not had an opportunity to dig into Assertion Framework yet. So I want to kind of go through a high-level overview of what Assertion Framework is and what it does. So what is Assertion Framework? It basically enables the orchestration designer to specify or assert the values that are expected to be produced by an orchestration. In other words, the designer can define the success criteria for data produced by an orchestration. You can do that by defining a range of values, defining specific values. You can leverage the process recorder to do these validation tests of your orchestration as well, which we'll get into. So what can assertions do? They can test the value that an orchestration produces against. They can verify that the application ran without getting errors. It can verify that the application created the output values that you expect. And the assertions can be set up on any step of an orchestration. For example, if you leveraged a form request, a data request, and a custom request within an orchestration, you could actually set up assertions on each and every one of those steps. So you're not limited to just a certain kind of orchestration component. You can actually do these assertions on any step, which is pretty handy. So orchestrations are a very powerful way to automate your E1 transactions and integrate to other third-party systems or IoT devices. The integrity of an orchestration has two critical aspects. One, it runs without error, and two, it produces the data the designer expects, which is where Assertion Framework comes into play. So if an orchestration produces a value outside a specific range, the details of that failed assertion are displayed for investigation. Again, for customers who are considering the use of orchestrations as test cases, the framework provides a way to define that success criteria. So using orchestrations as test cases, you want to leverage the tools that you have. So use orchestration test cases and Assertion Framework to validate your business processes. Ensure the data is valid by defining those assertions for your test cases. If they all pass, great. If not, then investigate what those deviations are. Simplify your test scenario. This is going to be demo number 2, but you can also use the orchestrator recorder process feature to create tests and expected values as well. And finally, a summary of those total assertions will be evaluated and passed or failed during your process. And those individual assertions are grouped by steps within your orchestration. So it's a very powerful tool. This assertion framework, very handy in testing your orchestrations and your processes. But overall, you'll see that it's a very simple, straightforward tool to use. And we'll get into that in just a few minutes. Welcome everybody to demo number 1. I have already built an orchestration. It's a simple one. It only involves a data request to gather the data set. Basically, it's built to check and return the quantity on stock for an item branch location combination. All right, so let me go ahead and log into Orchestrator Studio. Oops, this is not Studio. Hold on 1 minute. All right, there we go. All right, so let me pull up the orchestration I already had built. It's called Low Stock. Let me just show you a little bit about what it is. It's basically just a query over the item location file right here. The filter criteria is we're only looking for business units of M30, and these are the fields: short item, business unit, location, quantity on hand that we are returning. So let me show you how to run it before we do anything with assertions, just so you're aware. Before you run any orchestration, make sure you refresh cache every time to make sure everything is cleared and out of there that you no longer need. Notice over here there is an item number, but it is not mandatory or required. So we're just going to go ahead and run this, and you'll see the listing of information. So We didn't run this wide open. We only ran it for the top 100 records found, but we're just going to leverage the top 2 anyway from an assertion standpoint. So notice here, the first set is 60003, business unit M30, location is blank. That's the primary location. Quantity on hand is just over 110,000. Our second one is the same item, same branch, but different location. That's the secondary location. It's only a quantity on hand of 52. You notice down here the item numbers change and as we go, but we are only going to focus on these 2. So now we are going to go to the end section. This is where you define outputs, assertions, and all that stuff. And you notice our define outputs. It's that's why we're seeing these 4 things on the output. So we're going to go into assertions. And if you notice down here, there's little blue dotted lines and numbers next to them. Well, in assertions, these blue lines, this is what you click on to define the assertions for that particular field. So in this case, we have 2 unshort item number. They both happen to be the same item number. Remember, one was a primary, one was a secondary location. So we're going to check the same value for 2 different rows. But think about the rows is when you looked at that output, that is exactly how it's like sequential order. So the first particular one is row 1 with the primary location and quantity over 110,000. Row 2 was the same item, but the secondary location with a quantity of 52. Row 3 would have been that very next item number 60011. So when you look and define your assertions in here by rows, that's what you're dependent upon. So we set up 2 here, row 1, row 2, both equal 60003. And then a quantity on hand, I have in here, let's do greater than 110,000, and we'll do row 2 is greater than 50. All right. So we'll come out, just save it. Right now we're just checking, doing assertions on specific values. So we'll come in here and run. Remember, refresh cache. There's number 1 thing is you want to turn on evaluate assertions. When you do that, you'll notice you get another section here besides input and outputs. You can set up an assertion within your orchestration and run your orchestration without the assertions. So in order to get the assertions and do those validations and checks, you must turn this on. All right, so now we're going to run and output. It ran, and here's our output again. Assertions, drill down, and all 4 that we checked. So we checked 1 item number on row 1, 60003, and that is what it came back with. And quantity on hand is greater than or equal to 110,000, and it is greater than. And then row 2 was the same item number, so that passed. And row 2, quantity on hand was greater than 50, and it was because it's at 52. So this real quick, just by using specific values on a simple orchestration, we ran it. It allowed us to know what was running, what was correct, and what validations were done. So now I'm going to show you a couple other things on here. So go back to define assertions. In the quantity on hand, I'm going to change this one to between. I'm going to show you a range. All right. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to do this to less than 50 so I can show you one that fails. So let's resave that. right, go back to run. Refresh cache. Turn on assertions. And run. Now we get 3 out of 4 passed. So notice row 1 where we did the between, it still passed because that is between 110 and 120,000. But row 2, quantity on hand, failed because it is not less than 50. It's over 50. So right here, you would have to determine, all right, there's either something wrong somewhere or another. So you need to put an extra effort of review. So it may be something simple. You just simply set up the wrong operator symbol in your assertions, or it could actually be a valid issue in your orchestration run. So that's where you're going to have to look. You're going to have to look at your assertions. You're going to have to look at your orchestration, your components of your orchestration to determine, why is this failing? Because until everything that you're testing with assertions is passing, then that orchestration is not entirely working. It needs to pass all the assertions and test values that you are expecting. Remember, we talked earlier in the presentations, you define the success criteria. So in this particular example, I defined it, but something's wrong. Something's not working. So could be the orchestration, could be the form request, could be the a recorded process. It could be just simply you set up the define the assertions incorrectly, and this meant to be greater than. So just a variety of different things you got to look at. All right, so that's the end of demo number 1. Again, it's a very powerful tool. Not only orchestrations, but now the addition of Assertion Framework just gives the developers so much more to prove that their orchestrations and their work is working properly, that it's very beneficial. Before you do the development, do some surface testing, hand it over to user, do user testing, and then on to UAT. Well, now you can still do surface testing, but now you have a lot more to go on in your surface testing if you can leverage Assertion Framework. If you know what the data is coming back and you set up a handful of validation checkpoints, and those all come back passed, then it's a little, I feel a little more confident in that assertion frameworks passing than just doing, some high level surface testing prior to handing over to the users for additional testing. But anyway, this is the end of demo 1. I'll be getting demo 2 set up here momentarily. All right, welcome everybody. This is demo number 2 on how to leverage Assertion Framework for testing and validation of your orchestrations. Demo number 2, I'm going to show you how to use and leverage the process recorder to record a process for validation of an orchestration. So first, we want to go into Orchestrator Studio and go to JD Edwards Enterprise 1. If you're going to use recorder process feature, you must go into JD Edwards through Orchestration Studio. If you do not, you will not have a recorder process feature. So let's go and log into JD Edwards, and you will find the recorder process option in the top right in the drop-down box under your name. There's recorder process. You see that pops up. And the idea is we are going to record all the necessary steps to record a a process that you use. In this example, we're going to create a sales order. So we want to record all of those steps to record the creation of a sales order record, and then capture the assertions. So we're going to hit start, and I'm just going to go through FastPath, type in P4210 for sales order. I'm going to click the plus sign to add. All right, so now we're here. I'm going to add in my minimum required fields, order type, we're going to do branch, sold to, and then down here in the grid, we're going to do quantity of 6 and item 1001. All right, so notice everything's there, unit, extended price. So all we would need to do at this point is hit the OK button to create this order. All right, but before we want to do that, notice up here in the recorder, there's return values. Click on that, and you have the option to return controls, return columns, and capture assertions. So within here, we want to capture assertions, and then we want to return columns. All right, so if you click on this, it will change your little mouse pointer to be able to select any fields you want. So we want quantity ordered, item number, unit price, extended price. And these values are being stored because we turn this capture assertions on. If you turn it off, it'll just return the 4 columns. Turn it on, it returns the 4 columns plus the values that were being used in this process. Okay, so from here, we want to hit resume, but now we want to cancel the order. Okay, we don't physically want to go forward with the creation of the sales order. We don't need a sales order in order to leverage these defined assertions leveraging the process recorder. Okay, so we're going to click cancel, and then we'll stop our recorder, and we'll name it. We'll just call it test assertions. Put in a product code and click save. All right, so that's it. We're going to get out of JD Edwards, go back to Orchestrator Studio. Now, the recording process recorder, when it's done, that's saved as a form request. So when you go into Orchestrations, that process recorder will fall into the form request associate type. Okay, so we're going to go into Orchestrations. I don't have an orchestration for this yet, so I'm just going to go in here and create a new one real quick. We'll call it assert SO entry test assertion, and you may want to leverage this category when you have many orchestrations and different orchestration types out here: form request, data request, custom request. It makes it a lot easier to search if you are using this category. I mean, it's free form text, but say you had 10 orchestrations affiliated with one main project, you could use that one main project name as the category. So you pull it, you enter that in, and just those 10 pull up instead of everything that you've created on your system. So anyway, so that creating that. So now the plus sign, I want to add the form request that I just recorded. Okay, so I can go to form request. And this is the one that I just recorded. All right, and I'll show you real quick in the edit. All right, so you notice that there's a series of steps here. The first one was customer service inquiry. We hit the add button, and it took us to the detail revisions where we entered in the order type, the business unit, the long address number, quantity, item in the grid, and then we did the cancel because we canceled. And then it took us back to customer service inquiry. So this literally is just the series of steps, okay? So now I'm going to show you the inputs of this orchestration? There is none, okay? Well, there are inputs on this form request. If we go into transformations, these are parameters that are needed. We need to get those into the orchestration. So first thing is we want to add inputs to the orchestration. Do that. Now we're going to jump over to start just so I can show you that they were added. Here they are. Now we are going to delete the P4210 version. We want to be able to leverage any version of P4210 that we want. We don't want to be specific to a version. So we cancel that. Go back into transformations. Now, next thing you want to do is you want to map your parameters. And you can do this by an auto map button. If you click that, everything is mapped between your form request, your orchestrations, except for the version, which no longer is that input. So from here, we're going to save it to get all that done. Oops. All right. Hold on a minute, real quick. All right, I'm going to go to the end section. And we're going to define the outputs. We're just going to select everything. We're going to define the assertions. We're going to select everything. But notice that there is a little plus sign down here, which you don't normally see. That is this orchestration picking up the fact that there were recorded assertions from one of your steps, okay? So we want, and notice down here, there's nothing, zeros, zeros. We want to hit the plus sign here and notice that there's ones and ones. So quantity ordered, if you click on it, it says row 1 is equal to 6. Well, that was the quantity that we entered in our grid to create that record, that sales order, right? So the row 1 for the item was 1001. I'm actually going to turn this one off. And I'm going to do the quantity ordered. And then there's a count here that determines how many grid lines were created. So in this case, I'm just going to check for 1 because I know there was 1. So I'm going to check for my 2 assertions. I'm going to check for 1 grid line was created and the quantity for that grid line was 6. Okay, so I'm going to resave. Oh, why I keep saying that. So now I'm going to go to run. Hold on 1 second. All right, so now I'm going to go run. And I'm going to refresh cache. Going to turn on the evaluate assertions. And I need to enter in the parameters. And we want to use the same exact parameters that we used in that process recorder. If we don't use the same values, they're definitely failing. I mean, we're already going to know we're validating against a recorded process that has a quantity of 6. So and 1 grid line. So we want to use the same exact parameters to test with using the assertions now. So we enter all that in, we click run. We have 1 out of 2 passed. Okay. Hold on. Grid row. Hold on a minute. I could have swore I put 1 in there. I did not. All right. Well, anyways, you saw that it failed. I had a setting of 2 grid lines were created with a quantity of 6. And you just saw in the running that it failed. Let me do this real quick again. All right, so this I did want to let you confirm that it was working and failing. So this is a failure. So this is a good opportunity where you go, all right, well, I know something's wrong. Is it something I did setting up the assertions? Is it the orchestration, or is it a step of the orchestration? That type of thing. So let's go back into the end. And we know that there was only 1. So we're going to just change this to 1. Resave this. We're going to rerun it. Refresh cache. Turn on assertions. Okay, enter the parameters. Hit run. Now both of them passed. All right, so this is you can tell that the orchestration is working, is doing what it's supposed to. But this time instead of looking at specific we're still looking at specific values, but we're leveraging a process recorder as part of our assertion evaluation. All right, so we just pre-recorded a creation of a sales order, threw that into an orchestration, and we defined assertions to validate against that process recorder of a creation of sales order. And again, if you're using the process recorder, you want to test with the same parameters. You want to test apples to apples. If you change it up, it's going to fail, and then you're going to start looking into why did it fail, and it's just simply you're not running the same test parameters. So that's about it for this demo number 2. So again, in summary, Assertion Framework is a powerful tool. It's a great addition to Orchestration Studio and Orchestrations as a whole. Just giving you more power to test and validate your orchestrations before you hand them over to anybody else, any other power users, or moving them up in the in the system from development to PY or production. It's just a more powerful tool to give you a lot more confidence of your orchestrations working versus just a high level surface test that is typically done. And as you can tell, it's really not that cumbersome. It's pretty straightforward. It's very easy to use. So just I would just recommend that just start playing around with it. Leverage these presentations and these demos to start doing some practice tests on your own within your systems, and you'll get a hang of it in no time. So I appreciate everybody's time. Hope you guys all enjoyed it and got everything you needed out of this session. And everybody have a good rest of your day.